Our final session is transition with the ball. There is a 2-minute video with this, so what I will do is I'll hit play. Again, drop some comments in the community for me. Also, if you're watching this on a recording, drop some comments in the school community and drop me a post. Enjoy this 2-minute video, make some notes, and I will do a full whiteboard on this as soon as the video finishes. So in this final session today of Fulham in the Premier League, you'll notice that we've got the black team and then we've got the team in green. So you'll notice there's only 4 green players and then we've got an overload of 6 to 7 black players. Now, what they're trying to do is they're trying to transition. So whenever you score a goal, if you score a goal, you'll get the ball back. So the blacks are trying to keep the ball away from the 4 greens in the middle, and they score a goal by going from end to end. So the idea with this again is all around possession, and again we've spoken about this already. The big buzzword coming out the Premier League, and it has been for many years, is transition. So it's all about transition. Can we go from defence to attack? And then if we're attacking, can we go from attack to defence? So transition's the key word for the players. And you can see the greens, the 4 of them in the middle, are working hard to try and win the ball. And if they win the ball, they play it back to the coach. Again, one of the things that you can do in here as well, when you win the ball, so the greens are now on the ball, but the blacks have won possession again. If you find that the greens aren't getting any success in winning the ball, you can overload by adding in an additional player onto the green team. But with this, what we want to see is we want to see some flow from end to end for the black team with the possession. And it's important that we're seeing that transition. You'll see in the ball going from end to end, and the greens are trying their best to win that ball back. So again, the transition to the end. Can we transition back to the other side again? One of the big things that we've heard emphasised from the coaches today as well is decision making. So can the players look to play that ball forward and early? Also, you've noticed there, the greens, if they win the possession, their job is to try and score a goal into the goal. Okay guys, that was a short one, and I'm going to just pop up the whiteboard again and I'll do a great 10-minute explanation on this one for you and to help you understand a little bit. So the focus on this is transition, pretty much in a nutshell. It's been a buzzword in the UK for many years now, especially at the top academy levels. It's been really paramount having transition involved in there, and it's super important that we get players working on transition and they fully understand what they need to do and what they don't need to do. So what we did notice is, and I'm going to give you this as an explainer and a couple of the reasons why we do this, and I'm going to explain why I've wrote this 4-corner model. I'll explain about the 4-corner model very quickly. So in the Premier League, when we completed the new setup of the academy systems, which was called the EPPP with the English FA, we designed something called the 4-corner model. And what we realized we had to do was every single session had to have an element of physicality, technical work, tactical work, and social work. So whenever we looked at a session, we had to ensure it had all 4 of these areas. And I'm going to help you as a coach, as a volunteer coach, as a parent coach, or even as a paid coach, especially if you're from a different country around the world and you're not from the UK or Europe. So you really start to look at your sessions to see if all 4 areas are involved. Now, let's look at this with the younger age group. So you notice we had 4 green players, and we'll just put them in here. Then we had 8 black players. Okay, so we got 8 players in black bibs, and we've got I think it was 6 players in black bibs and 4, but let's just put in 8 just in case it was. I think it was actually. So we got 8 players in black bibs and we got 4 in green. Okay. Now, who would this be suited to? This 100% would be suited to 8 versus 4 would be suited for players probably 7 to 11 years. And why I say that, because it's basic and they're going to get a lot of success. Now, how do you score a goal? Every single time the team in the black bibs get the ball from here to this player here is 1 goal. And then if they then somehow manage to get the ball back in here, that would be another goal. So the idea is, can they transition end to end constantly? Now, what this is going to start to work on is fast transition, and I'm just going to put that as a T capital with brackets so we know that's transition. It's also going to encourage movement. Okay. It's also gonna mean if it's happening fast and it's involving movements, it most definitely is going to be involving 1 to 2 touches. Okay. And also, one of the big things it's going to involve is communication. Now, if you remember back to that video, you could hear a lot of shouting going on. So, if players are moving fast and quickly and moving around the pitch, that is physical, okay? If they are passing the ball with speed, that is technical. If they are moving into new spaces, that is tactical. If they're doing everything on 1 to 2 touch, that's technical again. And if they're communicating heaps, that's the social elements. So all of a sudden, within that one session, when we look at what we call a 4-corner model, have we got physical elements in there? We have. Have we got technical? We have. Have we got tactical? Most definitely. And do we have social going on, which is communication and verbal? 100%. Now, the problem that you're going to come up against, you could do this with an older age group, and you could say, we're going to go for 45 seconds hard, and we're going to record how many goals the team in the black bibs can score, and then we're going to rotate you through. Okay. Now, for a warm-up point of view, that could be a good one to do. But what you might find is with older age groups, it might become too easy. So what you might like to do is you might like to balance it a bit more. And what you might like to do is go to something along the lines of maybe a 7v5. Or if you want to make it really competitive, you might make it a 6 versus 6. Okay, and one team's attacking, which means one team is constantly trying to get the ball from one end to the other. Now, if the greens aren't attacking, every time they win the ball, all they've got to do is feed the coach to score a goal. And every time they feed the coach, they get a goal. Then the coach will have a stack of balls here, and then the coach will feed the next ball back in to a player in the black bib, and then we reset and we go again. So, by going with 6v6, it's definitely going to become more physical. Your technical ability's got to get better. Tactically, against 6v6, your tactics have got to be spot on. So what are we thinking about? We don't want to encourage them too much, but we want them to think about this. I would be encouraging my team in the black bibs to make sure they are high and wide. So we would expect this player to be positioned there. That is a tactic. I would be expecting this player to be higher and wider over there. I would be getting this player to be a little bit more there. And I would probably get this player to move in there. So tactically, we've set that up. Also, socially, what we want to start to add in now, when we talk about communication with the older age groups, we also really want to get them to focus on visual and not verbal. Now, you'll understand this as players get older. If they're calling for the ball, it's a big giveaway to the opposition, and these players are going to move in as soon as they hear the call. Where visually, if they're holding the hands up, if they're pointing where they want it, unless the greens are scanning effectively, they're not going to see what that player in the black bib is asking for. So this is where your communication changes slightly, okay? Then what you can do is you can then integrate the goals. So when we add in the goals, what we can then say is once the team in black move the ball from one side to the other, they've got to score 2 goals as fast as they can, 1 each side. Then to get an extra 3 bonus points, the next time they've got to get the ball into the coach. Now by forcing this, okay, you're giving them that 3-point reward, so you can go both goals, 1 point each, get it into the coach. It's a 3-point bonus, so all of a sudden there's 5 points if they complete both goals in consecutive order. Then they get the ball into the coach. Now what this is going to force the greens to do, this green player here, I guarantee, as soon as the second goal goes in, this green player will go there, this green player will go there, and they will then start to block the pathway to the coach. So this is going to give you that real upskill to make the session more advanced and more harder, and then that way they can work through and keep repeating through. So remember, for the younger age groups, strip it right down. Don't have a big explanation on what they're working on. Just basically tell them they've got to get the ball from this player who's fixed in the goal to this player here who's fixed in that goal. And if they move it from end to end, every time they move it up and down, they get 1 point. Just make sure the green players in the middle rotate with the black players, and we rotate 4 players in and out every 2 to 3 minutes. So everyone gets to go with defending. And remember to motivate and encourage the younger players. If the green players win possession, can they get the ball into the coach as fast as they can? And they get a goal. I guarantee what will happen is the players with the black bibs will say, "Coach, if we intercept it from going to you, can we then get going again and score points?" And what you could say to the team in black is, if you intercept the green ball getting played to the coach, we'll give you a bonus point, and vice versa. So there's many ways you can look at upskilling this or downskilling it, but that way you've got your opportunity to get through it and to challenge everyone. So remember, we don't want this to look too successful. So when you're looking at this, if you've got 8 and 9 year olds, or you've got senior men or women, if it looks like there's 60% or more success, that is a worry for me. What I would like to see is, if we're looking at this properly and effectively, it needs to be a 40-60 rule, and that rule is 40% success, 60% unsuccessful. We've covered this before, but when we get the 40-60 rule, it really builds development for your players. It gives them enough to be encouraged and to be motivated to keep going and keep moving forward, but also they're not getting success all the time, which means it's a challenge for them as well. And the best way to do this with this particular session, no matter what age group, men's, women's, boys, girls, whoever you're working with, if you notice one team is dominating, then tip the scale, tip the balance, swap a player over, and it can be done as simply as you take 2 greens and all of a sudden you turn them into players with black bibs, and all of a sudden we've now got extra numbers on one team, and you're going to start to tip the balance, so you start to see a lot more success. So leave it in the comments, guys. Again, drop me a post in the school community if you're watching this on a recording, and if you've got any questions or you want an additional video on a particular area, or you've used this so many times now that you want basically a modification on how you can change it, please drop me a message in the school community. Tell me it's the session I'm working on transition at Fulham, and I will do a video for you. If you're watching this on the live call, can you drop it in for me? Give us a comment what you thought of this particular session, and if you enjoyed it, and I'll be more than happy to get this back to you.